for this opportunity. Mr. Speaker, after deliberations and understanding my role as a senator, that is oversight and representation, I understand that is what we call a fair comment, Mr. Speaker. And when I say that, I might have been, because I don't want to attract Senator Osotsi again to stand and maybe ask for more clarification. When I said, you know, I'm Mkikuyu and I come from Mount Kenya, and sometimes when you talk about, when you're speaking English, you replace L's and R's. So I meant rooting, which means mandamano. Mr. Speaker, he comes, I meant he will come and do what he does best. I said rooting, which is taking the route, taking any route to demonstrate in the streets of our capital, Mr. Speaker. So maybe if I was misunderstood, and maybe I used an L, I meant rooting. Thank you, Mr. Speaker.
But this statement, according to the answer, it's different because you have said either Late Honorable Raila Odinga joins the government and they continue looting. Joins the government. I don't know whether you mean the government and Raila have been looting on Mandamano. I'm not sure whether that is that, but I will ask Senator Osotsi.
Maybe I just want you to understand, even when ODM is in broad-based government, they will continue making noise. You see them. We have given them chairmanship, and they're still making noise against the government. So what I'm trying to say, even if you do whatever you want to do, Mr. Speaker, they will continue demonstrating.
It's time to substantiate and then...
So I meant just that, Mr. Speaker. Even if they're in government, and I'm supporting that because if you listen to Senator Sifuna today, even you listen to him yesterday, he looks uncompromisable, Mr. Speaker. Even if he is promised his people will be given chairman. Look at Senator Eddie. Senator Eddie is going to be given chairman. He's the vice chairman. And he's still asking questions to this government.
Senator Karongo, you have not substantiated your claim, unfortunately.
Mr. Speaker, I say he will join the government.
I'm not convinced as the chair that you have done that.
Yeah.
Yes, Senator Sifuna.
Honorable Speaker, when somebody is called to substantiate,
Then a senator, not somebody.
Yes, when a senator is called to substantiate, they must provide something to back their claims. You cannot take us down a rabbit hole trying us to teach us English and literature. And Honorable Speaker, even me, who's not a Njuricheke elder like yourself, Honorable Speaker, can tell when somebody is being clever. You are a person who has the capacity to tell when a senator is being clever. Honorable Speaker, I want you to rule the senator for Kiambu out of order. And in fact, he's added insult to injury by the claims that he has made here, casting aspersions against members of my party ODM, which is not something we will allow, Honorable Speaker.
Okay, Senator Sifuna.
We will not allow it. So, Honorable Speaker, please, if he has been unable to substantiate, let the law take its course. I know the senator for Kiambu has been very busy out there in fact, we are wasting his time with him sitting here. I'm sure there is a rally somewhere in Lari, and I know how to use L and R. A rally in Lari is waiting for the senator for Kiambu. Release him to go.
So, Senator Karongo, you know, like your substantiation is very different with what I was pushing with Senator Mtata, because yours cannot be found anywhere in a newspaper or in a book that I'm going to refer. So instead of opening so many fronts here, then why don't you just, if you are misunderstood, you just apologize, then we move on. And we withdraw from the answer, because I think that's gentleman enough.
Actually, Mr. Speaker, that's what I did. I just tried to say that I was misunderstood. I used an L instead of an R. And since they did not get it, Mr. Speaker, and I want to continue being friends with Senator Sifuna because I like what he's doing nowadays, I withdraw and apologize, Mr. Speaker.
Very well. Let's now go back to statements. Where were we this side? Who was the last to give comments? Okay. Now let's go to Senator Joe Newton.
No, thank you, Mr. Speaker. I just wanted to comment on the statement by Senator Hamida on the mental health of medical interns, Mr. Speaker. And this is a matter that concerns all of us, Mr. Speaker, because what is happening is that, and we have seen it during the many industrial actions taken by the medics, where we have been able to establish, Mr. Speaker, that most of these medical interns are given long hours to serve, even as their seniors, the doctors, sometimes do 1 or 2 hours, and then, of course, go to their private practice, Mr. Speaker. And this is something that could be leading to a lot of mental pressure and stress, leading even sometimes, Mr. Speaker, to suicide cases. Mr. Speaker, I think once the Committee on Health then undertakes the job that it is going to do while looking at this particular matter, Mr. Speaker, I think even the remuneration of these medical interns should be looked into. The hours that they put in, Mr. Speaker, and the committee then should be able to give recommendations as requested by Senator Hamida, because, Mr. Speaker, it takes 7 years, I think 6 years to train a medical doctor at the university, Mr. Speaker, while the other degree courses take 4 years. Mr. Speaker, these are people who put in a lot of time, academic time. They are people that the government and the various hospitals need to recognize by paying well, Mr. Speaker. These are a group of people, again, those that are admitted to take medicine are the top cream in every academic year, Mr. Speaker. And these are not people then that we should pay peanuts and give them, long hours of service. Mr. Speaker, this is a matter that this House should take very seriously because, again, these are the people that we entrust our health to. If they are going to offer their services to us, because, of course, anybody can get ill, Mr. Speaker, if they will offer their services to us while under stress, while not comfortable with where they live, what they eat, and the kind of lifestyle that they lead, Mr. Speaker, then everybody, every Kenyan that is seeking medical services from these interns, who basically are the ones that you're going to find in every hospital any hour, will also be at risk, Mr. Speaker. And so when we speak for these medical interns, Mr. Speaker, we are speaking also for our interests, ourselves, our families, and indeed every other Kenyan, Mr. Speaker. So, Mr. Speaker, while at it, we may want the health committee, the Senate Committee on Health, Mr. Speaker, we're looking at this matter to also look at the training of these particular, of medical students, Mr. Speaker, because everyone knows that previously we had, or universities across the country used to admit a very small number of medical interns, or of medical students, Mr. Speaker, which has changed over time. So probably the committee should also concern itself with the fact, wanting to see what universities are doing with the increased numbers of students that are taking medical courses, Mr. Speaker. And so it is something that the Committee on Health should look into broadly and, Mr. Speaker, give a very comprehensive statement on this. Thank you, Mr. Speaker.
I want to give maybe one more Senate this side and one this other side. There are requests by some colleagues here that they have flight at 5:30 to Marindi and Mombasa. So I want us to manage time. Just a few minutes, 2 minutes, Senator Olekina.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, I rise to make some comments on two statements. One, briefly on the statement brought by Senator Peris Tobiko on the GBV cases in Kajiado County. Mr. Speaker, it is imperative that all of us should be concerned about GBV cases. When you find that for the last 3 months, 7 women have been raped in Magadi, it is something which you should be worried about. And to make matters worse, yesterday, one of the rapists who was arrested by the police was actually released on bail by the courts. So it is now upon us in Parliament to try and figure out how we are going to address this issue of GBV. We may need to look at the law. We know that everyone has a right to bail, even murder cases. But I think now, Senior Councillor Ojienda and Senior Councillor Mogeni, we need to start thinking about how to address such issues. Because in other countries, people are even held without trial. This thing is something which is affecting our own children, affecting our own mothers. It is imperative that we do this. This is something which is scaring our women of the Maasai community in Magadi, in Kajiado. Secondly, Mr. Speaker, I'd like to comment on the statement brought by Senator, my very good friend, Eddie Okech. Eddie Okech and I have been working together to try and make sure that there is peace between Narok and Migori. And we have done a lot of work, and I want to commend him for bringing this statement about the tension and the conflict. Mr. Speaker, I'd request you give me another 1 or 2 minutes to give some facts. The conflict between the Kuria and the Maasai. This is as a result of our styles of living. If you look at the Kuria, people are settled in agriculture. The Maasais were nomadic. We have had historical issues to do with the land, the boundary between Kilgoris and the Kuria and Migori County. So this is not just an issue that can be resolved by the Security Committee. I heard Senator Ojienda making comments and say the Security Committee should go there and resolve this matter. This is a matter that needs us to look at the boundary and to see which land belongs to the Kuria, which land belongs to the Maasais of Kilgoris. Because I would not sit here and expect that the Security Committee will go into that area and force away my people. You know, our people have been crying. The whole border of Kilgoris constituency, going all the way to Migori, you know, has got serious issues, Mr. Speaker. On this side of the Syria community, on the Kuria side, and the other side of the Wasingishu community, with the Luo side, it's a problem. So I think it's about time that we deal with these issues. There's been a lot of cattle raiding back and forth. The Kuria raiding our people raiding the Kuria. This is something which has been going on historically. And also, sometimes it happens because of our lifestyle. So I think it's a matter that we cannot strictly limit to 3 issues raised by my colleague. How many people have been compensated? It's not only about compensation. Because if you compensate this one today, what about tomorrow? It is about making sure that the boundary is very clear. The land that belongs to the Maasai remains the land that belongs to the Maasai. The land that belongs to the Kuria, it remains the land that belongs to the Kuria. Mr. Speaker, one other fact that is not even out here is that along that border, there is land which is no man's land, which now there is a camp, and I'm sure there is somebody very senior in this country who Thank you, Mr. Speaker, for adding
Just 1 minute, kindly, you know, as I...
Let me summarize and put it this way. We have a lot of challenges in that area. There's no man's land which is around maybe 3,000 acres along the Kuria-Narok border. And that one of the things that I am very happy with Senator Eddie because we've done a lot of work together in the community. And now we're making it known that when the security committee goes there, when it is not only going to say compensate, what are you compensating people for? Solve the problem once and for all, so that the Kuria people can farm in their part of the land, the Maasai people can graze in the part of their land, and we solve this problem once and for all. And that no man's land, we need to be able to know which part belongs to Kenya, which part belongs to Tanzania. It's that simple. It's a boundary dispute. We've had the same boundary issues between the Uasin Gishu and the Syria Maasais. You know, and that one, they just fight over a small section. That, so far, has been resolved, to my knowledge. But the part which has not been resolved is the Kuria Maasai dispute. So we cannot trivialize these matters, or we cannot say, let's just compensate them. Let's go there, solve the problem once and for all. Put a boundary. And then once we do that, we also revisit these land laws, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, right now, my people, the Maasais, are selling their land at 20,000, 20,000. And then the people who are buying it, are selling it again at 150 or 1 million shillings an acre. That is causing problems, because once those people have sold that land and they have no land, they go back where there is a dispute and they cause problems. So we need to deal with issues, to change the laws, we zone laws, such that an area, you cannot sell any land, you can only lease. Thank you, Mr. Speaker.
Senator Seki.
Thank you very much, Honorable Speaker. I also want to comment on the statement stated by Senator Peris Rubiko. Honorable Speaker, Kajiado people are in a very bad situation now. They are worried. It's a worried county. We have a very serious and dangerous person who is moving from one sub-county to another in the county. Honorable Speaker, this person by the name of Lorgali has really terrorized our people. And I'm worried, Honorable Speaker, because we have security operators, systems of this government. And I think this is the right person, need to be abducted by these government's systems, not to abduct the innocent children, young men of this country who have not done anything. This is the right person to be abducted. They should now use their whole system to make sure that they have abducted Lorgali, who is raping elderly women in our county. And I think if they don't, we will definitely, Honorable Speaker, give our people authority maybe to find him. And probably they will not be there. He will be found dead. So I don't think we need to give government a chance to continue giving people who are violating the law to terrorize our citizen of Kajiado. I'm told just yesterday, one of the girls in Kajiado town, near Kajiado town, that man is there now. And I don't know what his security personnel are doing. So I think, Honorable Speaker, this is a very serious thing. And now we are worried of the health of those who have been.
Conclude 1 minute to conclude, because there is a matter touching on Kajiado County, which you represent.
Thank you very much, Honorable Speaker. And I don't know what is the health now, the health of our people who have been terrorized, who have been affected by this man. The health situation. And I believe the counseling process will be started by the county and the Ministry of Health. And again, Honorable Speaker, we don't know the kind of system that we're going to put to make sure that such kind of problems that are will not happen again. Otherwise, thank you very much. I don't have much to say because of time. Thank you.
Senator Mugen.
Yes, thank you, Mr. Speaker. First, I want to comment on this idea of people who pose danger to society, who are presented before court, they are charged and released on bail. Mr. Speaker, our Constitution is very clear in Article 49, Subarticle 8.